Over 4 years ago, I got into Harvard at the age of 16. This canon event was the result of countless hours of hard work and, of course, a bit of luck. Now, as a 21-year-old Harvard alum, I'm thankful for how far I've come in life, but I wish I did so many things differently, both throughout the college application process and especially college itself. If you also want to attend Harvard one day, then I would keep listening. I'm going to tell you everything that college admissions counselors do not tell you, because they probably don't know this information. While Harvard is a great school, it's very important to understand how exactly you'd fit in as a student. So, without further ado, here are 10 things every future Harvard student should know. Number 1, getting into college is the hard part. This is a flat out lie. People love talking about our grade inflation to make it seem like it's an easy school. I don't know if that's like overcompensating in some type of way, but let's set the record straight. Of course, certain classes have curves, and that's because they are notoriously difficult. I saw this like one neuro syllabus like beginning of my senior fall, and I was really scared by it because a 90 to a 92, that range was a B plus. That was a B plus. Like, how can anyone explain that? So there is grade deflation, clearly, case in point. And even if there is grade inflation, it's most likely because people are not doing well on the test because they're that difficult. TLDR is there's no one unique Harvard experience, especially in terms of like academics. Some people will tell you that their academics were so easy, meanwhile others will say that they lost so much sleep, especially all the PSET heavy classes, kind of front-loaded like freshman and sophomore year for a reason, so I wouldn't have to take a lot of those like problem set classes later on. So in terms of like easiness for academics, it really just depends on what classes you take and I guess how cracked you are. Number 2, the people are the best part. Yes and no. I feel like so many people say this when aspiring applicants like ask current students like, oh, what do you like the best about your school? And it's always like, oh, the people are the best part. And I would say yes and absolutely not. I've met some of my absolute best friends at Harvard, but I've also met some of the absolute worst people I know. I found out the hard way that many people don't value all of their relationships and might not mean as much to them as it does to you, and they will sacrifice common decency for selfish motives. I mean, Harvard is a school that attracts a lot of narcissists, so I guess it's not too surprising, but it was definitely like really jarring, like finding out like how a lot of people can be. I'm no longer in contact with several people I consider my closest friends freshman year, and with that, I would just advise like don't go into any college really being too trusting of everyone you meet. And as cynical as that sounds, that's unfortunately the mindset you kind of need to have, especially in an environment like Harvard's. Number 3, the Harvard College curriculum allows you to explore all kinds of classes, and I think this is really great for like that classic liberal arts education, but the caveat is that it really does not help you vocationally. So only 1/3 of your classes go towards your major, or concentration as we call it. The other 2/3 comprise of the college curriculum and electives. The college curriculum includes a mandatory freshman year expository writing class, 4 general education classes, 3 divisional distribution classes, 2 language classes, and 1 quantitative reasoning class. The language requirement could be waived if you have like a 5 on an AP language exam or pass a Harvard language placement test. I tested out of the language requirement with the French placement test, but I ended up getting a minor in German. At first I kind of just planned on getting like a language citation, but it was only a class away from a minor in my last semester, so I ended up getting a whole minor in German. But that's technically the only thing you can like test out of in terms of classes. Other things you can't really get around, like you can't transfer credits from like other colleges, like if you did dual enrollment, for example. Speaking of, that 1/3 that comprises your electives is perfect for getting a secondary, getting a language citation, studying abroad, and literally pursuing any other class that you are interested in outside of your major or concentration. My overall take on this broad curriculum is, while it does allow students to explore so many different kinds of classes and learn how to think critically, it doesn't really help you with real life skills or learn the technicals you need to ace certain interviews. So that is definitely something you really need to grind outside of class time. So many other schools, like they have like finance major, business major, like whatever, so many other things that's like geared towards like an actual job in life. Meanwhile, we don't have that. For us, like, I don't know, if you want to go into finance, business, whatever, econ is the closest thing to that. And even then, it's very theoretical. For example, like Harvard only offers 1 personal finance class and 1 corporate finance class. So that personal finance could be like that one like real life class that you ever take during your time at Harvard. And I ended up taking corporate finance my senior fall, and that is like the one class that's kind of like applying to my job right now in terms of like my day-to-day things, not necessarily the background, because I'm working in med tech. I'm doing like this finance leadership development program, and that was like the one class I took that kind of helps out with this. Number 4, house life is a pivotal part of your experience from sophomore to senior year. So many people don't really know too much about the house life even when they're like applying to Harvard, so this is definitely like a good thing to know about. So on housing day as a freshman, you get sorted into an upperclassman house that you'll stay in for the rest of college. Definitely a little bit like Harry Potter. And this is a big reason why most undergrads do not live off campus, because we love our houses. So 12 houses are Adams, Cabot, Courier, Dunster, Elliott, Kirkland, Leverett, Lowell, Mather, Forsheimer, Quincy, and Winthrop. I live in Adams house, which is objectively one of the best houses. As of fall 2025, it is the most up to date, with renovations having been done in every one of the buildings for the house. The location is also closest to Harvard Yard, and I found the community to be incredibly inclusive and welcoming. Everyone loves something about their own house, and there's so much to do in each house. Like, every house has their own unique traditions, formals, intramural sports for people to stay involved and just have fun. For instance, Adams does this thing called Carpe every Thursday night, where students can just get free food and drinks, and it allows people to just like stay involved with the house culture and have fun. Another big thing is like the resident dean, faculty deans, and resident tutors in each house, which serves as a network for advising, which is super useful. My sophomore year advisor helped me out with like a lot of like personal issues, and she was really great in like helping me find my classes, even though she wasn't like a neuro specific advisor. I have only very positive things to say about house life. Number 5, starting with the class of 2029, Harvard is no longer test optional. So you have to take the SAT or ACT if you're applying now. While the Ivy Leagues pride on their holistic admissions processes, I feel like it's so important to aim for a good SAT or ACT score to really stand out in your application, and that's where Beastley helps. Thank you so much to Beastley for sponsoring this video. So I got a 1510 in one sitting on the SAT, but it took me 5 times to get there, and I spent so much time stressing out about it. If I used Beastley, I feel like I would have studied way more efficiently. So Beastley was built by a team of ex-Stanford students, and it leverages AI to help you understand all of your mistakes. Instead of using dated SAT prep materials, you can use this to drill unlimited practice questions. No one likes spending countless hours grinding practice tests, but Beastley can help you study more efficiently and in less time. Beastley is also fully aligned with the digital SAT, so you know you're studying with the latest practice questions in the right categories. You can use my code HELEN10 for $10 off your first month with Beastley. Now study smarter and not harder. Number 6, while the Harvard bubble is very real, there's so much to do in the surrounding Boston area. You can explore other areas in Cambridge like Central Square and Kendall Square, or even go into Boston to explore Fenway, Back Bay, Chinatown, Seaport, and so much more. Whenever I wasn't too busy with work, I made an effort to kind of escape campus for a bit and explore the city a little bit more. I feel like out of all the Ivies, I feel like Harvard is especially nice in terms of like having that college town feel, because you're in this really nice area of Cambridge, but you also have Boston, and there's a lot more to do out there, but you're not like right in the middle of a super busy city. So yeah, there really is so much to do, unlike New Haven. Number 7, and this might be a little bit surprising to some people, the Harvard name itself will not exactly get you a job. Just because someone sees Harvard on a resume doesn't mean they're immediately going to hire you. And I feel like that really is such a big misconception with like so many people I talk to who don't go to the school. They're like, oh, you go to Harvard, like you'll totally get your dream job. You'll totally be fine. That is so far from the case. So yeah, going to Harvard is not enough, I would say. You need to continuously build your resume with extracurriculars and internships, of course. The process of like getting into a club on campus is called comping, and people comp for so many clubs on campus. And while you shouldn't overwhelm yourself and comp for way too many clubs, I still feel like you should be intentional on which extracurricular experiences you want to have. For instance, I was in the Harvard Biotech Club as an analyst. I was very interested in like healthcare consulting, and now I'm working in finance and medtech. I was also a video exec for the Harvard Crimson, and that shouldn't really be a surprise to you guys because obviously I love making videos, and it was kind of nice to do that for video journalism compared to like content creation. Number 3, I was the president of the Half Asian People's Association my senior year, and before that I was involved as like a general board member, and that was really like one of my greatest experiences extracurricular wise. I was able to like connect with so many other people with like similar ethnicities, and I met like so many amazing friends through that. And finally, I was like a member of the Harvard Crimson dance team, and if you guys have been watching my content for a while, you would know that I quit that 2 years ago, but I think it was still like a great overall like sports experience to have. And while it ended badly, I'm still happy I was able to be a part of a college dance team. But something I do regret is not being too involved with like pre-professional clubs, because that could really go a long way with like interview prep and just kind of like getting you into that zone with like recruiting, because I didn't really like realize like how important it was to like be so far ahead of the recruiting game. Yeah, I kind of like locked in a lot later than other people, I would say. So that is definitely something to think about. And that's, again, going back to the whole like liberal arts thing, like I feel like classes and like professors aren't really telling you, okay, you need to, you know, start looking at these recruiting timelines. You need to like, you know, start doing this specific, I don't know, case prep for certain interviews. Like the classes themselves will not tell you that. So that's something to really stay on top of on your own time. Also, like internship experiences are obviously very important as well. I had 2 in research and 1 in business development, all for the same company, and I decided to return there this time as someone in finance. So yay. So yeah, that all led me to where I am today. Number 8, the college specific traditions have been some of my best experiences in college. And that includes like housing day, Harvard, Yale, even like Crimson Jam and Yard Fest. So again, housing day is the day you get sorted into your house as a freshman, or the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, they do the dorm storming, and it's like crack of dawn. They're just like yelling like, oh, you got this house, you got that house, and it's like overall like a super fun day and, you know, full of house pride. So I really like that. And Harvard, Yale, I hate to admit it, but it's always been more fun at Yale rather than at Harvard. It's always been a super fun experience right before Thanksgiving break. And Crimson Jam is kind of like our kickoff like concert for like the fall semester. This past fall we had Day Up, so that was really nice. I feel like Yard Fest is a little bit more fun though. That's like our spring concert. This past year we had Natasha Bedingfield, and that was super fun. I really like that. But I think that's something that's like really special about like the college rather than like the grad schools at Harvard, because we have so many like unique like traditions that, you know, only the undergrads can participate in. So that's super nice. Number 9, taking time off is actually really common, and I seriously thought about doing this because so many other people around me were doing it and they said it kind of like changed their lives. But I feel like the message to take away from this is that it's okay to take a break from school. And you guys have been following along with my videos for a while, you would know that I never took a break from school. I finished high school in 3 years and I went straight to college, and here I am today, 21-year-old in the workforce. I feel like if you have a reason to take time off, that is amazing, like an off-cycle internship, traveling, and even focusing on your mental health, which is a really big one. And I seriously thought about doing this like around my junior year, kind of like before senior year, just because I feel like I haven't really had that time to just like find myself, like as cliche as that sounds. I feel like life was kind of moving a little bit too fast for me, so I ended up like speaking to my resident dean about it, and he kind of like explained the whole process to me. But at the end of the day, I decided to just stay in school and keep chugging along and trust the process, and it did work out. But I feel like taking time off, especially like before college even started, that would have been super helpful for me. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. And finally, number 10, imposter syndrome is very, 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 very real. My imposter syndrome was like an all-time high like senior fall, and I think I mentioned this in my other video where it's like I don't know, like 10 tips for applying to Harvard. It's definitely like a real thing, and seek help if needed. Go to therapy, I don't know, talk to your friends. I feel like every time I was feeling this type of way, I always had to like put things into context. Like I have to remind myself like this school is full of renowned artists, athletes, scientists, you name it. So obviously like that does naturally kind of make a lot of people feel out of place, but at the end of the day, you have to remind yourself that you are there for a reason, and you know that 3% acceptance rate, you are among that. At the end of the day, it's just important to remember that you do deserve your place. Okay, that concludes 10 things that every future Harvard student should know. I hope you guys found that helpful. I feel like it's like a lot of like insider knowledge that most other people wouldn't really like tell you when you're like making a decision, when you're like applying to college or picking a college to matriculate to. Like a lot of like college admissions counselors wouldn't really tell you like, okay, what this actual student life is, you know, like the traditions and what the people are like, the classes are like, that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Stay tuned for my future videos. I still have graduation content coming up, and stay tuned for all my post-grad content because there's a lot more to come. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.